The main course is, I feel like I should do a little bit of explaining. The main course is a Jubilee video, 1 black radical versus 20 black conservatives. I seen some clips of this, not exactly like clips of what they were exactly talking about, but like people reacting to it on the internet, right? Or giving their opinions on it. Actually, I seen one video of one woman giving their opinion on it. And I was like, I'm finna watch this video on stream and make a YouTube video. Anyway, I just want to say in my head, obviously, I'm a very, like, I can see things from both sides type of person, right? Although before we get into this video, I do want to, like, if you want me to, like, if you want to, don't get angry. I am just like, I'm giving a warning right now. If you want to click off, click off. If not, don't. But I'm going to give this warning. I'm not on either side, but I do lean more conservative than that in terms of my views in my head. But in general, I do believe I can see things from both sides, because I think every law in the world and every vision in the world, there's a good median that people aren't just like figuring out. Like there's something that should be making both people genuinely happy, or both sides genuinely happy, or both sides leave both sides genuinely okay with this situation or law or whatever it is, right? Anyway, or rule or whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, let's get this started. It's a long video. We might watch it all, we might not. I don't know.
Let's get on the fact that there's no fathers in the black home. Let's talk about that.
Stop.
Who do we
You're
vote
talking
for?
to a radical, not a Democrat. The radical mind state simply is living opposite to our colonizers, which is...
I don't know the difference between radical. Let me look that up, actually. Because that's a good thing to hear. She said, you're talking to a radical, not a Democrat. Let me check ChatGPT. Let's do this out loud.
Sure thing. I'll keep it nice.
What's the difference between a radical and a liberal?
The terms radical and...
Hold on. She said Democrat. What's the difference between a radical and a Democrat?
The terms radical and Democrat describe different approaches to political beliefs. A radical usually refers to someone who wants significant or fundamental changes to the existing system, often pushing for a complete overhaul of social, political, or economic structures. A Democrat, on the other hand, typically supports the democratic system and its values, working within that framework to achieve change. So a radical is more about the extent of change, while a Democrat is more about the system of governance they support.
So, I'm not gonna lie, already hearing this, what I'm thinking a radical really is someone who wants to change things, or who has ideas that won't actually, like, ever happen. Like, you know, like I don't know, man. That's what that sounds like to me. Cause I was interested to know the difference, because I seen with the person who, it doesn't matter, but let me just see. I don't know though.
Imperialist, capitalist mind state, and radical blacks do not believe that is any way for us to have liberation. Well, here's what you all keep doing.
See, it's like, okay, radical and liberation seem to go together somehow.
You're interrupting me when I'm talking, and you don't want to hear the point that I'm going to make. And yet you want me to respect your point. And that's not how a debate works.
I just also want to say, I'm gonna stop pausing just a second. I just want to say, these don't work if it's not a conversation. If it's an argument, it's all the way over. Like, you're raising your voice. He was interrupting her. That is true. Raising your voice and interrupting, that doesn't work. It's now an argument, and now it's not a conversation. That's what I truly hate about these two. That's why I don't put myself in no box. But from my personal experience, when I talk about my beliefs, and I'm trying to have a conversation with people that are like on the other side of, who don't believe in necessarily what I believe, they can't necessarily not turn it into an argument. Like, you know, like, you can have conversations about things without them being arguments. But every time I have a conversation, or my beliefs come up, or this and that, it turns into an argument, or like some type of aggravation, like, really gets triggered. When it doesn't have to be, we can just talk about how we both feel. And, you know, anyway, this is already gonna piss me off. I'm knowing it is. Both sides is gonna piss me off because the interrupting is gonna piss me off, and her like, look at her like, come on, bro, what are you doing right now?
Give me the respect back. Ooh, I knew I was gonna be surrounded by ignorance, but damn, let's go.
See, like that's crazy. Like, whatever. All
Greetings. Right. I am Amanda Seales, widely known as a comedian, an actress, a disruptor, an annoying person on the internet who always tells the truth. And I am now an artistic intellectual who commits myself to making art that educates. And today, I am surrounded by 20 Black conservatives. My first claim is it is undeniable that reparations are just and necessary.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it.
Oh boy.
All right, reparations, fair, necessary. My question would be, who's going to get it? Why would they get it? And how long are we going to sit here focusing on trying to get reparations? It's been how many years since slavery? 150 years, 1865? Whenever there's a real thing that this country wants to do, they do it. Stop Asian hate. Okay, there's a problem with the Asian hate. Let's draft a bill, sign it, and it's done. Anything that needs to be done is done.
I'm interested in what she has to say about reparations because I get it, but reparations would have to be done very specifically, and to be honest, this specific way they'd have to do reparations would make a lot of people more angry, a lot of Black people more angry than it would make Black people happy, because they would have to cut a lot of Black people out of the reparations. It's just, that's what it is. All right.
With us, it's a carrot they dangle in front of us that they don't really want to do. And it's not going to help. We need education. Oh, it's not going to help.
Reparations isn't going to help. It wouldn't help the economy. It wouldn't help anything, actually. It would help people's ego and pride. But it technically, actually, no, if they did it correctly, it would help. It would help. I'm not going to lie. It just wouldn't, because then there's the downside of people being like, why am I not getting it? Because I ain't going to lie. In terms of reparations, like, you would have to, like, let's be real. Not every Black person who lives in the United States is a descendant of slaves. It's just the truth. You know what I'm saying? And then like, it's been such a long time that, some Black people would think they're descendants of slaves, but actually just aren't, and they'd have to be cut out. But then how do you even go to each family and like just decide? Like, it's a very hard thing to do, or just give every Black person who lives in America reparations, which is unrealistic and would honestly make the economy worse.
We need education.
Unless it's a small amount of money.
From the government is not going to do that. And we need proper education. A lot of us go to these institutions where we're not really prepared, we're not really focused, and we don't get things that'll help us in the real world.
Her face is pissing me off, I'm not
gonna lie. If you want to help Black people, a check from the government, from our tax dollars is going to get raised, because let's be clear, everybody in here is Black. We all American, we all got to pay taxes. It'll go to that. So I don't really see how this is going to help us at all.
Okay. Well, first I'll start with, it will help on even just a moral level. The reality is that the United States has become very comfortable with the fact that it does not consider Black people equal. And it shows that in many ways that I'm sure we will discuss over the course of today. But ultimately, there has not been a committed, concerted effort to shifting the mindset around the use of Black people as a labor force in this nation back when it was slavery, now in the use of slavery as slave labor in prisons. So on a basic cultural level, reparations are an act of repair. They are an effort to say, our bad, we see you now. We have seen that done with Japanese folks who were put in internment camps. We have seen that done with Jewish folks. We have seen that done even in the case of slave owners who received reparations. When it comes to the use of tax dollars to pay reparations, and this is going to come up a lot today, it's a matter of values, right? For me, my value system circulates around the fact that I think that as a community, we should all be engaged in repair for our community. So I don't think there should be any problem with there being tax dollars spent at repairing consistent efforts that have been made to impede Black people. So the reparations you're talking about are not just related to slavery. There's reparations that have been discussed all over this nation in different communities as it relates to particular massacres, as it relates to redlining and the impediment of Black people to earn wealth by having property. There's been impediments in various ways that can be repaired. And I want to also just add, there's reparations that are considered a cash payment from a government. There's also the version of reparations that shows up in how funds are applicated to specific groups of people. So there's multiple ways in which what you're stating cannot happen could very well happen.
Okay, now as far as the money going towards certain things is going to help us, let's look at Baltimore Public Schools. They get, I think, the third most money per pupil in the US of A, like $15,000 per student, but yet the majority of the population that comes from that environment can't read, they're illiterate. So we're dumping money on the situation, yes, but yet we're not getting the results we should get from it. Money's not going to help the thing. We need to just focus on what we need to focus on. As far as Black people being labor force of this country, what else are we doing? We got 25% of us on some kind of government assistance. 1 out of every 3 Black men will go to jail. We got to do something. We got to work with our hands, work with tools, do something, because we're not doing much of anything. And also, one more piece here. Reparations, again.
Her faces are gonna piss me off. This is a very much woman type of thing. Like, I don't even want to, like, you gonna see my conservative side come out a little bit in this video. But like, I hate it when I'm talking to a woman and like about views and they can't hold their face straightly, like just looking like in a normal conversation, like they have to twist it up or like do this or do that or do that. That shit pisses me off. And her specifically, it's pissing me off. I'm not gonna lie.
In front of us, never gonna happen as long as you've been living, as long as I've been living, as long as everybody been living.
Until your time.
We need it, and it never gets done. One more piece.
You just said one more piece, then you're adding another one.
I promise.
So hold on to it. No, hold on to it.
I'm gonna land the plane. I'm gonna land the plane. I promise. Reparations is a thing. Like I said, it's a carrot to dangle in front of us. They're never really going to get it done. And if it was going to get done, it would have already been done.
This is
it's
true.
Just something that they're using to try and make us stay Democrat. That's what I wanted to say.
Well, Democrats are not doing reparations either.
They're not.
This is nonpartisan. This is Black partisan, baby. Okay.
Well,
this is nonpartisan.
Who do we vote for? Who do we vote for? 93% of the time. There's no incentive.
To be quite honest, you're not talking to a Democrat. You're talking to a radical.
Okay, but let's
land this plane very quickly.
Who do we vote for?
Let's land this plane quickly.
You're
talking to a radical, not a Democrat.
Okay,
on that side, he's acting like the Democrats and the what's it called I be talking to. And I'm talking about the conservative, like just re-asking the same question. That's childish. Just have a conversation, bro. But I understand she's childish as well. But that move in a conversation turns the conversation into an argument because it's childish, bro.
Let me tell you something now. I don't know what they told you, but if they told you that cutting me off is how we're gonna get clicks, stop it now. That's not how we're gonna. That's not how we're gonna enter.
We having a debate.
A debate does not require continuously cutting somebody off.
Okay, no problem.
Now I do want to state this. You're stating things as it relates to how money is not fixing a problem without acknowledging the fact that the problem doesn't exist in a vacuum. And that there are so many other factors that are determining how that money is getting spent to impede it from actually fixing a problem. You can put all the money into Baltimore Public Schools you want, but if you are also putting all this money into policing, into communities that are not getting resources, then you are also creating your own conundrum. The other part of this is that when you're saying they, you know, the they is a broad context. And the last part of this that I will say is that you keep saying they're dangling this in our face. They're dangling in our face. Slavery lasted for 400 years. It hasn't even been 400 years since slavery. So should we be only fighting for a quarter of the time to get repair?
All right, I'm so sorry. You've been voted out by the majority.
All right.
Please return to your seat.
Okay.
Oh, that's what the red flags are. Interesting. And in terms of that those, every time I hear that is a very that's a very good like a very good way to put it. It hasn't been any time since slavery happened. That is true. On the conservatives' point, if they wanted, that being said, for real, if they like where we at in our what's it called in our society right now, if America wanted to do reparations, they would have done it already. They are dangling it. That's the truth. It's not gonna happen, and it's definitely not gonna happen the way people think. I don't even like if they did it. It's not even gonna happen the way Amanda Seals thinks it's gonna happen. I guarantee. She might just be happy because it happens, but it wouldn't happen at all the way she thinks. Hell, she might not even get anything. Like, you know what I mean? But every year that goes by, it's more and it's less and less likely that it's going to happen. But interesting, he got voted out. I didn't know this was a flash.
My name is Matt Nuclear.
Hello, Matt. Matt Nuclear?
Matt Nuclear, yes.
Matt Nuclear, give me a better handshake than that. Let's do it. All right.
In this conversation with a beautiful black woman like yourself, this is nice, beautiful arena here. I disagree that reparations are necessary. I think the most important thing that's necessary right now for the black community would be the stopping of violence, especially black on black violence. I don't see how reparations is going to solve anything. You can give everyone here like a $50,000, especially people that are in the streets who are committing violent crimes consistently, a $50,000 check. It's not going to fix anything.
That's true.
It's not going to increase the median household income in the next 10 years
That's
by
true.
10% or 20%. For
That's
example,
true.
we have the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882. We prevented Chinese people from getting citizenship and even entering the country. We discriminated against them and basically put them under apartheid, even here in the United States. Yet they have the highest median household income. How is that possible? How come they don't complain and feel entitled consistently to beg for reparations and beg for this when they are killing each other 90% of the time, which is the rate that black people kill each other, according to the FBI?
Oh, young Matt.
Yet white people are the oppressors.
I'm not sure where your education came from, but they lied to you.
Stats don't lie, though.
Statistics lie all the time. So let's start there, particularly when the statistics are coming from the sources that gain from the statistics being shown a different way. So if you're gonna start your argument on stats don't lie, you've already lost the argument. They lie all the time. One, comparing Chinese people who are immigrants that made a choice to come to the United States and comparing the continued effort of black people to ground themselves in a nation that continues to make impediments for them to show and live and exist in their true citizenship is a false equivalency.
I don't believe that happens at all. No one here is in.
Are you
being
acting
impinged on
right now?
anything.
Do you really believe
I'm telling
this?
the truth. There's no systemic racism that I've experienced here in America. What system is racist? I think the only racism we've actually seen recently, systemic racism that we've seen, is the application of systemic racism against white people. The University of Western.
Hold on. I'm not actually educated on what that means. What's systemic racism?
Systemic racism refers to the ways in which societal structures, institutions, and policies create and perpetuate unequal opportunities and outcomes for different racial groups. It's not just about individual prejudice, but about the cumulative impact of policies and practices that disadvantage certain racial groups over time. This can be seen in areas like education, employment, housing, healthcare, and the criminal justice system.
Okay. That's interesting. I'd say I can definitely see that from both sides, because I feel like people are in bubbles and people don't realize how many because she would probably be saying like, you know, things like black people in housing and black people in jails, this and that. I feel like people fail to realize how many white people are actually poor, and but I can see it from both sides, because if I was gonna bring up something, it's like, let's be real, like motherfuckers do get pulled over by the cops, like, more in my experience. Obviously that might be a bubble too, but there's like little things that I've experienced. Also, there's just racism in general. Like, it doesn't. Let me keep going.
Washington, for example, has been.
I'm sorry, I kept pausing. I just didn't know what that meant.
Segregate dormitories, using black-only dormitories, because black people feel safer amongst each other, but they're more likely to kill each other than white people are ever to kill them. That's just the truth. You have King Von rapping about killing other black men. Why should I think that the white man is the oppressor when black men are more likely to kill me?
Oh my
Tell
God.
me.
I see her view is going to be something along the lines of, which I can also understand, that, but it's also like, it's kind of true, like, it's on them, like, because they were put in that situation and grown up in that mindset by white people. Like, you know what I'm saying? By society, which is initially white, that is happening in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Which is true. It's like these conversations could go so deep because you can even, like, I could see both sides because that is true. But then you can also argue, well, you know, you also have free will. You do. You know, it's just you can argue so many different
This
things.
is scary. You need to think about me as your mama. Do not talk to me in that fashion. So let's check that now.
Okay.
Okay? So
Wait, what?
mama, do not talk to me. Oh my
Tell me.
God, this is scary.
Is the oppressor. When black men are more likely to kill me.
Oh my
Tell me.
God, this is scary.
Why did she say that?
You need to think about me as your mama. Do not talk to me in that fashion. So let's check
Why
that
did
now.
she say that?
Okay? So on a basic level, we have to understand that systemic racism is grounded in the realities that black people have not been considered an equal human being in this country since its onset. So there's simply no way to make the argument that there isn't systemic racism, and we have seen in very clear ways the system operate in an organically racist way. Do not cut me off.
I believe systemic racism is a real thing. Now that I'm hearing, I believe it is a real thing. I just also don't believe the amount of systemic look. I believe systemic racism against black people is a real thing, but I also believe there's an equal side to how things don't favor in other races. You know, things don't favor in other. Because I believe there's an equal side of systemic racism in other races. That's what I mean to say. You know, in the United States, but it just acts in a completely different way. You know what I'm saying? Which could be good or worse. I don't know.
And we talk about systemic racism, we can start with even the fact that redlining, which was implemented to discriminate black communities. Are you shaking your head that redlining doesn't exist?
No, I'm saying I don't think it really existed at all. I mean, no, I don't think so at all.
So it does exist.
What is redlining?
Redlining is a discriminatory practice that began in the 1930s, where services like banking, insurance, and even healthcare were denied to residents of certain areas based on their racial or ethnic composition. This often involved drawing red lines on maps to delineate areas that were considered high risk. The practice has had long-lasting effects on wealth and health disparities.
Interesting. Okay, see, now that's interesting. Because that would fuck up generations and generations. I'm saying, but what's the math on how long it would take you to get back? Right? Like, because that definitely would set people apart. And it probably did set more white people apart than others. But I don't know. It goes back to things about how a lot of white people are very poor too, you know? And people don't see that because that's not the narrative that's being shown, but it's true. White people are broke, bro.
And stating that it doesn't exist doesn't make it no longer exist.
It's just there's more white people with generational wealth. That's true.
Redlining absolutely exists. It is not something that's being made up. It's an empirical fact. And there are realities that exist because of redlining. We know that school systems are related to the way that property taxes are affecting the school systems. If a school system is not getting the same property value as the property taxes allow it, then it's not going to have the same efficacy at allowing for students to be able to get what they deserve. When we talk about systemic racism, we have to acknowledge that these private prisons are literally built based on the test scores of school students in third grade. So if you are literally building prisons with the onset of, okay, if these people are not reaching a certain reading level, then we know that they're going to go down a prison industrial pipeline where we can use their free labor. Then how is that not systemic? And if you want to
stop them from entering prisons.
How are you going to stop people from entering prisons if your goal is to get them into prison?
Sure, make them try to be more like Ben Carson than be like King Von. That's very, very simple.
So how does King Von happen? How does King Von happen?
King Von
reparations.
Hold on,
actually, no. Let me land the plane. Yeah. We're talking about reparations, and what you're doing is actually just trying to get this conversation off the facts. And the fact is, reparations are just and necessary because on a basic level, black people built this country and the country continues to thrive off of the labor that black people put into this country. And it would behoove you, young man, to really understand the way that your ancestors put blood, sweat, and tears into this nation that is still living off of those blood, sweat, and tears. And let me also add, there are reparations and then there is remunerations. Do you know the difference?
Yes, but can I finish one
No,
point that I wanted
answer
to
the
say?
question.
Ben Carson's cousins were killed at a very young.
I'm so sorry. You've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
I hope some of y'all are acting. I really do. I really, we in LA, and I hope some people in here are acting. Oh, what's that on your chain?
This is a coin from Israel.
Lord have mercy.
Yes, you gotta go.
That's a choice that you are making for yourself.
Yes. The thing with the whole reparations thing, and I don't know, we're probably close to the same age, so maybe you can't call me
How old are
mom.
you?
I'm 32.
I am 44.
Oh, really? Oh, you look young.
Thank you. That's what water and keeping stress out of your life will do.
Really? Liberal positions are real stressful.
By the way, I wouldn't know. I'm not a liberal. Carry on.
Well, it's the liberal position because conservatives believe in hard work. We believe in going to work and working for what you got, not asking for handouts from people who never had slaves. Some of the people that you're asking for money from never had slaves. And let's talk about the fact
that's why it'd be a really specific way they'd have to do this, and not everybody would get money. Because you'd have to. I'm glad he brought that up. Not every black person in America would get reparations or get money. And on the same part of it, not every white person should get, like families should give money or like however they would do it. I don't know. Maybe it's just the government, but this is like the government for real. Like, I don't know. Like, and then there's also on the type of fact where it's like, I guess maybe the government is bad. Like, would they take money from white people or I think you should take money from the government because technically the government had a law in place. Because like, I don't want to say too much, but if there was a law in place right now that said I was legally allowed to rob banks and get away with it, I'd probably be robbing banks. You know what I mean? I'm saying that so I don't have to say the other thing. But that's what I mean. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but it's just a specific way you'd have to do this, and I don't think it's funny because if they really gave reparations, I think that did it like how they were supposed to. I think the majority of black people would not be satisfied, and then it would be a whole nother problem.
Also, black people that had slaves. So if you want to talk about that, how is that fair? If I'm a white,
there were approximately 300. Holy shit, I didn't know that as a fact. There were approximately 3,700 free black people who owned slaves. I did not know that. I had never known this fact at all. This is interesting.
Person in my family fought on the side of the Union. Why should I have to pay for slaves when this whole country was never all racist? Some of the founding fathers were abolitionists, and they hated slavery. And they actually put things in the Declaration of Independence and things too, because they believed that there'll be a future where there would be a black president one day, or that there would be people in leadership that were black. There was people in the North who helped with the Underground Railroad and fought with the Union. So why is that fair?
This is all very true. That's why I don't want to keep bringing up the reparations thing, but like that's why it's not ever finna happen. It's because it's too complicated. It's too mixed. It's too this. It's too this. It's too that. Like they'd have to do it in a very specific way that they're not gonna take the time and energy to do at all.
For people who never had.
So it is being dangled in front of people as a false thing.
Slaves who fought against slavery to have to pay for people that had slaves.
One, from my understanding, you are more interested in preserving the fairness of those who didn't have slaves than the fairness of those who are the descendants of slaves. That is priority to you than finding a fair way to accommodate those who have been the descendant of slaves.
Well,
I can see what she means, but I think it's equally as important. because if you're going to defend one side, you can't blame another side who had nothing to do with it. You should defend both of them. Like, if you're just going to be a normal, like, righteous, like, good human being, like, just as a goodwill, like, you should just do that.
Wasn't asking for handouts. They were asking for equal opportunity. And we have equal opportunity in this country. We had a black president, just in case you didn't know. We had a black president and we had a black vice president. I mean, I think she was black. They said she was black.
I'm not going to lie. Barack Obama was a pawn. That's just how I see it. I think he was just as, like, I don't know. I like bringing that up, you know what I'm saying? I might be on her side, on the radical side with this, but to be honest, that shit, Barack Obama didn't help anything. Like, you know what I'm saying? He was literally just there to be there. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was like, you know how they say tokens, like in movies? Like the black person who's just picked, or who's just there to be a black person? Yeah, I feel like it was just that. He was really just the same as any other white president, though. Like, let's be real. People, especially black people, do always talk about all the great things he did and this and that. But fail to realize all the horrible things he did, you know? Like, he did a lot of things Trump is doing right now, but people don't want to speak about that, which is very interesting to me. And they hate when I say that. They'll be like, what? I'll be like, look it up.
So we had a black president, and you know who voted for that black man? White people, because you can't win a popular election in this country without white people. So Barack Obama is the product of white people. So let's get off this thing where, oh, America is so racist. What's making America so racist is people that continue to talk about racism and continue to focus on racism instead of focusing on unity and bringing our country forward. People that have this liberal mindset are infecting our communities, black people, and making us victims and not victors. I refuse to embrace a victim mentality because that's not what our grandparents and Harriet Tubman and those people fought for. They fought for equal opportunity.
Do not bring up Harriet Tubman's name in vain, baby, please.
They said the Lord's name in vain. The Lord's name.
Harriet Tubman was literally.
Why are you raising your voice? My fault.
Literally saving her family and others from slavery.
Yeah.
Harriet Tubman rescued more than 60 people and provided assistance to dozens of others during her journeys to freedom. Harriet Tubman received help from free enslaved African Americans and whites, including the Quakers.
You know who helped her? White people.
You know who helped her?
They were on the Underground Railroad.
Come on in. You know who helped her?
Come on in.
You know who helped her?
This is very interesting. A lot of these facts that are popping up, these people are disproving themselves. Like, you know what I'm saying? She's saying no, he's saying yes, but yet they're like kind of both right and both, like, you know what I'm saying, wrong. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's interesting. They like don't actually have all the facts. I'll be like, that's why I don't like arguing about a lot of these things with people, because I'm like, I don't have all the facts. Truly, I know you don't have all the facts, so I don't even know why we're going back and forth about this if we're just making shit up in our heads. Like,
God.
People who benefit from white supremacy. One of the things
it's a lie. White supremacy is a lie.
No, sir, that's
simply
not true.
There's no such. I mean,
if that were not the case, then we wouldn't see the continued effort of colonialism and white people placing themselves in positions of power when they do not have the power.
Because their culture, black culture, is toxic. The black culture is toxic.
Why does she, like, why? I could never have a debate with someone like this. She's so very childish. I hate debating and talking with people who do this with their face when I'm trying to speak to them and make little side comments. It's a very, I don't want to get into that, but it's a very feminine thing to do. And, like, you know, it's just annoying, bro. Like, just sit there and listen to what I have to say, then say your part, then I'll say my part. Like, stop twisting your face and doing this and doing that and doing this. It's like, come on, bro. That's childish. We did that as children, bro. Like, I literally remember doing that as children to piss people off on purpose. Like, that's why I hate it so much, and that's why I don't do it. I literally remember doing that on purpose. Like, oh. Like, come on, bro. I hate that shit.
We have produced a culture that is toxic. Let's get on the fact that there's no fathers in the black home. Let's talk about that.
Stop.
That interrupting is crazy.
Stop.
Let's talk about that.
None of this is gonna work if y'all are just gonna sit here and make up shit.
It's
not gonna work. No, it's
People clearly, like, I don't know. People clearly have not been to, like, I ain't gonna lie, I got recruited for the debate team freshman year. I did. I thought I was gonna be very great. I never went. I never did. I thought it was kind of corny. I almost always regret that decision because I think I would have been a great debater. But people clearly don't know how to debate. Also, it's not a real debate because they didn't look up the facts and then go and debate this first. They are using their heads, but she's making up a lot of stuff just as they are probably. I don't know. I'm not that well educated.
You have to be in fact.
In this stuff.
You're
You
putting
are
off
literally
emotional liberalism
I am
right
not
now.
putting off emotional liberalism. You're putting off unfounded lies
That's what y'all
based
do. Y'all
in
start saying
conservatism.
misinformation. Remember they
It
did the
is
misinformation thing all summer where everything
Look at this
conservatives
man.
did. They said
You're carrying
misinformation.
a chain around your neck of an apartheid nation that actively wants to harm black people and
What about the
non-Jewish
apartheid?
people.
What
But
about
let
when-
me bring it
what about
back.
when
Let
black
me bring
This is actually, see, that's why I'm like, I'm gonna have to do this in parts because this is horrible for me to watch. It pisses me off watching this. I'm not gonna lie, on both sides because they can't debate. You know,
selling black
people don't know how to
Let me-
debate.
That was not happening in the context that
cages,
you're saying.
And they were selling
Let's
their own
bring it
people.
back.
Black people still sell
Okay.
their own people today too. By
I don't
the
know
way,
if I'm gonna last.
We're selling our own
I
people
can't-
today
I don't know
too.
if I'm gonna
You probably
last.
won't last with me.
I won't because your ignorance is so
See, y'all,
overwhelming.
that's liberals. Y'all start name calling when
No,
y'all getting
it's
defeated
not
in an
name
argument.
calling. You won't have an argument because you keep cutting.
It's true. Liberals and people on the radical side, they do start name calling and like go to like hurt egos and stuff. You know what I'm saying? And she's about to say something. I know she's about to say something about cutting people off when she literally cut him off by saying stop. I don't know if I can watch this on both sides. Both sides are horrible. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, well, that's fine if they don't let me come
You
back
won't
up.
even.
I made my
you won't.
point.
You didn't make your
I
point.
made my point.
You haven't
And
made
I'm
your
okay
point.
with being
And let me
voted
just
out.
tell you about your point. You started off saying we believe in hard work.
Yeah.
And we believe in being compensated.
Reparations is not though. Reparations is not hard work. It's stealing. It's Robin Hood.
You said you believe in hard work.
Yes.
And you believe in being compensated for hard work.
Yes.
Were slaves compensated for their work?
They weren't compensated for their work. But why should people who are sitting at home playing video games, smoking marijuana,
Are you sitting at
be
home
giving
playing a video game?
checks?
Are
But
you
no, the
sitting at
people that
home
they-
playing a video
the
game?
people that they're wanting
Am I
reparations
sitting at home
for-
playing a game? No.
The people
And
they
I don't
want
know
reparations
I don't
for-
know who these people are that you're talking about because the majority of the black community is not sitting at home playing video games.
The majority of the black
Where are
community
you
is
getting
doing a
that
lot of
statistic?
things.
Where are you
A lot
getting
of
that
things is not
statistic?
right.
Pause.
Let's check this out. What's the percentage of children in the United States who play video games for an elongated period of time or unhealthy period of time?
According to the National Institute on Media and the Family, about 8% of gamers aged 8 to 18 show signs of pathological addiction. Additionally, a study in the journal Pediatrics found that about 30% of young gamers play for more than an hour a day, which might be considered on the higher side.
How many out of that 30% is African American?
It looks like there's no specific data available on the percentage of African American youth within that 30% of gamers who
Interesting.
Voted out by.
Can you make an estimated guess?
It would be a bit tricky to give an exact estimate without
Fucking AI,
concrete
bro.
data, but we do know from broader studies that black teenagers tend to have higher screen time than some other groups. So if we were to guess, it might be a bit higher than the general average, but it would still be an approximation. If you need more precise data, we might have to look at more specific studies.
It's interesting. I don't know how to go off that.
Majority, please return to your seat.
I knew I was going to be surrounded by ignorance, but damn, let's go.
Yeah, I want to hear a woman.
My
I
hands
do.
welcome
I want to
from
see
the
how this is
bottom.
about
My
to
hands
go.
are sweaty because
Okay.
I'm nervous. We both got sweaty
Got it.
hands. Okay. So I just wanted clarity because I think it'd be helpful. You said radical. I wanted just clarity on that. And then also with the reparations, you said it's not just money, it's other things. I just want to know, like, what do you see as like the grand picture of what would help?
The grand picture of what would help.
Of
what?
reparations, like what does that look like to you?
Oh, great. Reparations, what reparations looks like to me is a
Great
combination
question.
of reparations and remunerations. And reparations are about repair for damages that have been caused based on harm. Remunerations is a monetary response to work that has not been paid for. So if you come and paint my house and I don't pay you, you can take me to court and get remunerations for the work that you have done. So we're actually owed both in this nation as Black people. And there are incredibly just clear-cut records that show the buying and selling and purchasing of slaves, the work that was done, also the intellectual property that was stolen from slaves, right? Because there was so much inventing that was happening. And there is also quite a bit of other reparations that are being discussed as it relates to property being stolen, as it relates to, again, redlining and the inability for Black people to get loans,
That little nigga
et cetera.
hates her.
And these impediments being solely based on their race.
As far as like discrimination.
Yes, like they're being solely based on their race, it not being about anything other than you're Black, so you can't, right? And so when it's very clear cut like that, there are very distinctive responses to that can be done through a cash payment, as well as through
To who?
measures that are being done to create funds for creating resources and responses like housing, like access to food, access to education, et cetera, that certain communities have not had access to because of the fallout from these things.
And I just had a quick question for clarifying. With the funds, I'm wondering, where do you think those should come from? Like the actual money, like is that we're raising money? Is it taxes? Like what does that look like?
Well, I think what they've been doing
Good
with these
question.
different reparations committees is they're looking at, all right, well, how much has this city or how much has this town or how much has this country gained from the estimated amount that was stolen from these people, right? So they're looking at like, what is this wage amount? For instance, like if you look at during that time, okay, what was the wage amount that a hired worker would get for this same work? All right. And so we're looking at how was that wage not provided and what is that pool that is being created? And then we're looking at, all right, where can that wage come from in terms of how has that wage been applied? So there are spaces where this is very clear. I think the last thing that you asked about was the difference between liberal and radical.
Yeah, please.
Ultimately, the concept of liberalism is really just not Republican, right? I mean, that's essentially what it's become.
I
It's
would
like-
disagree with that, but I understand that's your stance.
there's a very generic concept of what liberalism is in the sense that it's simply saying that I am a part of the bipartisan mind frame, but I am not a Republican. It's a mindset. It doesn't always show up in action, but it's a mindset that says, you know, I don't support extremes in certain ways, or, you know, I want the government to show up in certain ways. You know, I know there's a conservative point of view that says there should be less government, but even though it just says that, the action is very different. The radical mind state simply is living opposite to our colonizers, which is an imperialist, capitalist mind state, and radical Blacks do not believe that that is any way for us to have liberation.
Thank you for explaining that.
And thank you for being very respectful.
We were told to be respectful.
Is she not? Oh, she was just asking a question. She didn't even. Okay.
We're not your enemies.
Thank you,
so-
my good sis.
Surrounded is now a podcast, available wherever you listen. Time.
It's interesting. She didn't have anything to say.
So you say that black on black crime is due to underfunding and overpolicing.
I guess that does help the overall thing, though, for other people to hear what she has to say.
I actually don't necessarily disagree with one of those. I think that, however, the government, who do you think should be responsible for the funding piece of the black community? Should that be something that the government should step into, or should that be something that we as black people need to handle ourselves? Dr. Jordan Peterson and even Thomas Sowell and several others have stated one thing, that poverty and crime, there's a positive correlation. There's also a positive correlation in the black community of absentee fatherism being one of the root causes leading into criminality. Black males that grew up without a father are 10 times more likely to engage in criminal activity. And so I think one of the...
Can I put a pin right there and ask you a question?
Ask me whatever you like.
What is the root cause of their...
Research clearly showed there is a correlation between absent fathers and higher likelihood to engage in criminal activity. Researchers have reached the different conclusions on the exact percentage from Florida Atlantic University found children in general with incarcerated parent 5 to 6 are more likely to become offenders.
less fathers present?
Bad decision making on the part of the fathers. We live in a patriarchal system. like it or not. Men have dominated the socioeconomic, economic, and political power of this country and the world since our existence. So our bad decision making, especially when we focus on the black community, is the root cause of fatherlessness.
What type of decisions?
Not marrying the women we decide to lay down and have children with. Not being careful with the seeds that we plant in women. No woman can get pregnant without a man planting his seed inside of her. So therefore,
so it's marriage.
Well, that's a part of it.
That's interesting how she just took it.
Marriage is a part of it. Okay. But the true piece that I'm looking at is connectedness between familial units. The black community was at its economically strongest while being at its poorest during the segregation era. Prior to 1968, Dr. Martin Luther King in his last speech said that we have an annual income of more than $30 billion a year, which is more than all of the exports of Canada and more than all of the exports of the United States and more than the national budget of Canada. That was when we were economically at our poorest. Yet 85% of our black children were growing up with a father in the home. There was less black on black crime. There was less disenfranchisement.
Why was there less black on black crime?
Because we needed to live together. We had to stick by each other. We had to stick by each other.
What was there also less of?
I'm not sure where you're leading. That's a leading question. I don't like those.
You don't like this?
I don't like leading questions, no. I like direct stuff.
So essentially, when we were living in our own communities, we were also policing our own communities. So we were not being used as statistics in the same way to determine how resources were provided to our own communities. When we were going to the government saying, hey, we deserve because we are supposed to be separate but equal, we weren't saying, hey, we want to be with y'all. We were essentially saying, we want what you are stating we deserve. And that is what all of the efforts of the civil rights movement has been. It's literally just been to say, you said when we got out of the Civil War that we would be considered citizens. And all citizens should be getting equal access to these things. However, you are actively allowing the Klan to harm us. You are actively allowing...
Who's killed more black people, the Klan or us?
I would like to continue my statement. I let you speak uninterrupted.
You did.
When we talk about this concept of who is harming us, we are really making a false claim when it comes to black on black crime, as if there isn't white on white crime. There's also this unnecessary effort to try and pathologize black on black crime in a way that you don't try to pathologize white on white crime. There are white people killing each other every single day. Now, they may be on jet skis in the pictures after they shoot up their whole family, but nonetheless, there are white people killing each other every single day. Now, much of the reason why you may see more numbers in terms of black on black crime are for two reasons. One, the statistics be lying all the time. We have seen this.
Numbers? Okay, when you
we
say
have
that,
seen this in a real way. So in New Jersey.
When you say,
so
when
in
you
New
say
Jersey,
that, what numbers can be trusted? Because with the previous speaker, you said
I'm about to
statistics all
tell
the
you
time.
right now.
Okay, so your sources can
you
be
can't
trusted.
such number. No, I'm literally about to give you an example of numbers not being able to be trusted.
Okay, talk to me.
That's what I was doing.
If you can't trust numbers, then what is she necessarily going off of? The untrustworthiness of people. That's not it. Let me just hear.
Okay, then listen.
Oh, my ears open.
So listen. In New Jersey, they had a statistic that was created by the police department that said, look at how many black people are committing crimes. Look at how crazy this number is. These black people are so exorbitantly violent. Look at this. And then people went and actually matched the names that they were booking with the faces of the actual people incarcerated. Okay. And it was proven that they were lying.
So that's one instance.
That's
Hold on.
one
No, you're
example.
talking to somebody that works as a police dispatcher when I'm not making content. So here's the thing.
I see.
No. You see what?
Well,
the truth is, you're about to see the truth if you just give me a second. Like Trump said, just give me a second. I'm going to do the weave, but give me a minute.
Well, here's
so
what
when
you all keep doing. You keep interrupting me when I'm talking, and you don't want to hear the point that I'm going to make. And yet you want me to respect your point. And that's not how a debate works. So if you want me to keep getting louder, I will do it. But ultimately, if I show you respect, give me the respect back. I let you talk. I let you make your points. I am countering your points. And my points are just as valid as yours, even though you got a pocket square and a Church of Christ pin on your chest.
It's not a Church of Christ. It's
whatever.
A cross.
It's a cross. Same difference. You got an American flag and you think you know something because you a cop. And ultimately,
not a cop, dispatcher. There's a difference.
It's a cab all day over here. So let me make that clear. But let me also add to my point.
We're gonna stop this right here. I'm gonna be back reacting this tomorrow. This is pissing me the fuck off. I'm not gonna lie to you. She's horrible. She is simply horrible. And I don't mean her views, I mean her as a debater. She's horrible. She's pissing me off. I'm gonna have to react to this later. I'm gonna take a picture of the timestamp. 27:02. But that was just simply one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. Just this past 5 minutes was just the worst thing I've ever seen in my life, bro. I almost want to go back, but it's gonna piss me off if I go back, bro. just to prove like that she just like, dude, I have to hold on.
I will do it.
Second, like Trump said, just give me a second.
Of the actual people incarcerated, and it was proven that they were lying.
So that's one. So that's one instance.
That's
Hold on,
one
no, you're
example.
talking to somebody that works as a police dispatcher.
Okay. Let's just I mean, you can argue that he interrupted her right there. You can. But then it's not like she took it as an interruption, clearly.
That they were lying.
Look.
So that's one. Okay, so that's one instance.
That's
Hold on.
one-
Because that's a debate, back and forth. That's a debate, right? So then they go back and they debate, boom, and now it's
You're talking to somebody that works as a
and now he's talking, right? You know what I'm saying? So you can argue that was a interruption, or you can argue that's how you're supposed to debate, and you're not supposed to get mad at that because it was a back and forth conversation or back and forth dialogue.
dispatcher when I'm not making content. So here's the thing.
Oh, I
So
see.
no. You see what?
Well,
the
you
truth is, you're about to see the truth.
Interrupting.
Just give me a second. Like Trump said, just give me a second. I'm going to do the weave, but give me a minute.
Well, here's
So
what
when
you all keep.
Interrupting. Like, you know, this is she's pissing me off. She's been doing this the entire time. Given some of them have been too, but she's horrible. She's generally horrible, and she should not be debating. She should not be the one who's doing. I mean, I don't know who she is. Maybe she got picked for a reason. She probably did get picked for a reason, but she is horrible. This is. I would not be able to literally have a conversation with this woman. You know what I'm saying? Because I probably wouldn't be able to have a conversation or a real back and forth debate with a lot of these people in here. Off of what I've seen, except for this man, is like I probably could go back and forth with him because it's like some of the respect, like you just respecting. No people in this video have respect. She just is like takes it to the extreme when she disrespects. Like
Keep interrupting me when I'm talking.
she just interrupted that. That would genuinely piss me off. But then what am I supposed to say? No, you just interrupted me. She would be like, no, you just interrupted me. And then I'm like, bro, this is childish. Like, what are we doing here? Like, what are we, children? Like, you said you're 39? No, you said you're 44? My fault. Like, what the fuck? Like, come on, man.
And you don't want to hear the point that I'm going to make.
The point that
and
you're
yet you want
raising-
me to respect your point. And
She
that's
gets louder so she can't get interrupted back after the one who's interrupted. Anyway, I took a picture. I'm finna end the stream off here. If you're watching this on YouTube, leave a like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, share the video, and friend, uncle, cousin, and I'm gonna come at you with a part 2 with this reaction, very, very soon. Yeah. Live a life to fullest, comments, dreams, get money, and stay happy, man. It's been your boy Cloud9 Kofi, and I'm out, man.